Hello and welcome to Husky Talk. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully. And with me today, a very special guest, a dynamic athlete from the 1998 team, the best team in school history. He went on to have workouts with several NFL teams. Mr. Tory Taylor. Tory, welcome to Husky Talk.
How you doing, Steve? Thank you. Glad to be here.
I'm doing great, man. I'm doing great. I wanted to talk to you for a while because you were such a dynamic player and you did so many different things on the field. Just that athleticism, it's rare. It was rare back then. They do it a little bit more today. You see with like Deebo Samuel and everything, but you were one of the first, especially to do it at UConn. Where did you grow up initially? Are you from Florida?
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Orlando area, Winter Garden, Florida. It's about 20 minutes west of downtown Orlando. So yeah, born and raised there.
So you were by Rennell and RC?
Yeah, they're in the county over. They're in I was in Orange County here in Orlando. They're in Seminole County in Lake Mary. Yeah. But yeah, I live even closer to them now.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Oh, that reminds me. Procyon Partners is one of our sponsors. Procyon Partners specializes in wealth management, retirement planning, and employee benefits. President Sean Rabinowitz always promises exceptional results. And one day he's going to get me a Tesla. So I'm looking forward to that. That's Procyon Partners. Did you start playing football? Because Florida is a different animal than anywhere else in the country. Florida and Texas and Jersey are like football states.
Yeah.
Did you play early on?
I did. I started probably, I think when I was about 7, started playing football. And,
Wow.
I wasn't very good when I started.
No.
I wasn't very good. I kind of bounced around different positions. And, because I was fast, my coach in Pee Wee football, he was like, well, we're going to give you the ball. We're going to throw you a toss sweep and let's see what you do.
See what happens?
Yeah, see what happens. And I did that, and I ran a toss sweep, and I was fast. I got around the edge and ran a touchdown. I've been playing, and I started playing running back ever since then.
Were you guys in pads at 7 years old?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Full pads. Yeah, that's what we were.
Pop Warner football.
Yeah, we were in pads at 9. I can't even imagine at 7.
Yeah.
Because I coached at the college level for several years, and we had youth camps, and we would have kids that age, and they would drive me up a wall. I couldn't deal with the young kids. I go nuts. They don't listen.
Yeah.
Try to tell them to do a drill, they don't do it right. You try to tell them to do it again and correct them, they still don't do it right. And I don't have any patience, so I'm just bad with young kids. So you knew early on you had some speed, you had athleticism. Did you like football right away? Because I mean, you're not the biggest guy, but you're fast, and some people don't like getting hit. Did you like it right away? Did you fall in love with it?
I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't either.
No, I didn't like football right away. I didn't like the physicality. It hurt, but I just initially played because all the kids in the neighborhood played.
All your buddies played. Yeah. That's the same reason I played.
Neighborhood. All the kids play football. And, when I come around, we play baseball. And so, I fell in love with it over time. But, when I initially started, I didn't like it.
Yeah, I didn't like it either. It just, everyone was yelling and loud and hooting and hollering. It was too loud for me, and the hitting, it was just, it took a while to grow on me as well. Did you transition like 7th and 8th grade? Did you play junior high football as well?
Yeah, so we played Pop Warner up through the 8th grade.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So we play Pop Warner runs up and through the 8th grade, and then after that you start freshman football. So yeah, I played. I started like I said, when I was 7, played all the way up through 8th grade, and then went on to high school and played freshman football.
Wow. So you played Pop Warner until you were in 8th grade, and then you went right to 9th grade to varsity. I mean, did they do JV or just freshman football?
We had a freshman team.
Freshman.
We had freshman, JV, and then varsity. Yeah.
Okay. And did they move you up early to varsity? Or did you just play junior, senior year varsity?
So I played on the freshman team. I think we had like 7 or 8 games. I played those 7 or 8 games, and then the last game of the season, I moved up to JV.
Yeah.
And the following year, my sophomore year, I played 2 games of JV, and then got moved up to varsity.
Yeah, they knew early on that they had something, and they didn't want to waste it while the time they had you. I'm sure.
Yeah, and I was playing quarterback. I was a quarterback. Yeah, I started.
Oh, you were naturally. They had you at quarterback. Well, some teams were running versions of the spread or whatever. They would put their best athlete at quarterback, but you could throw the ball pretty well too.
Well, yeah, we ran the Delaware wing T.
Oh,
so
okay.
More of a running, offense. I ran a lot more than I threw it. But I threw it around a little bit too as well.
Yeah, the Delaware wing T. You never know where the ball is.
Yeah,
we ran the wing T as well, and it was always belly or waggle right, waggle left.
Yeah.
Those were the passes. That's all we had.
Yep, that's it. Yep, absolutely.
Couple sprint outs here and there. Wow, that's crazy. So, was that a shock to you that they said, "Hey, we want you to play quarterback," or were you like, "Hey, whatever gets me on the field"?
No, I actually started. My favorite player growing up was Randall Cunningham. I always wanted to be Randall Cunningham, and so I started my, I think it's my 7th or 8th grade year, and Pop Warner actually.
Yeah.
I started from Randall.
Okay.
And so, because I was just in love with Randall Cunningham. He was my favorite player, and so that carried on to high school. I went to high school as a quarterback.
He was my favorite player in Tecmo Bowl and Tecmo Super Bowl. I used to love using him.
Yeah, I remember those Tecmo Bowl games. Yeah,
he was QB Eagles because he wouldn't be part of the Players Association agreement with Tecmo Bowl, but it still had all his attributes. And he was like Michael Vick trying to tackle him and all over the place.
Yeah, I love.
Yeah, and I don't know, for some reason I had just started watching. I'm a Giants fan, so I was watching.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, I know. I was watching. The Dolphins. Wow, same thing. I was watching clips from 1986, the 86 team that I never watched because I was too young. And I watched a couple Giants Eagles games, and Buddy Ryan was the head coach. And Randall Cunningham was the third and long quarterback. So he was rotating his quarterbacks. It was Ron Jaworski who would play first and second down. And if it was like 3rd and 8 or longer, Randall Cunningham would have to come in. And it's like they're putting this guy in the shittiest of situations. And he'd always find his way out. It would be just magical watching him, either with his feet or he'd have great pocket presence, and he had a cannon for an arm. He got the ball downfield. And then I loved his career resurgence when he was with the Vikings.
Yeah.
I was at the NFC Championship game when they lost to the Giants, and then I think it was the year before they lost on a missed field goal, which they should have won. When he was the quarterback, he was the quarterback, and Dante Culpepper was the backup, but he was just amazing. He was special.
Yeah,
so I get that.
So I wore the number 12.
That's why you wore 12 in honor of Randall. That's awesome. Did you start to get recruited after your junior year, mostly, or sophomore year? Because I'm sure you had coaches coming in and out.
Yeah, so it started during my sophomore year, like late into my sophomore year. We had a couple guys on our team. One guy, he was a safety. His name was Homer Torrance. He went on to play at South Carolina. He was all state, all everything. And so, a lot of the college recruiters started coming around then. We had another guy on the team. His name was Eric Robinson. He went on to play safety for Georgia. And
Wow.
so, we had a lot of talent on our team. So, the college coaches, they were
You're passing through. Yeah.
And so, it started like at the end of my sophomore year, and then the beginning of my junior year is when it really started to pick up.
Shane Stafford had wanted me to say what's up to you, by the way. He wanted me to say
boy,
hi.
That's my quarterback.
And Shank wanted me to say hi. I did a couple shows with them. Yeah, they wanted me to say hi to you. Wow. So, I mean, back then it was a little bit different. So if you're getting recruited as a sophomore, teams are taking notice and they know you're special. Yeah. So did you have like a breakout big junior year personally or as a team?
No, we were okay as a team. I think we were 7-4 our junior year. We didn't make the playoffs, but we went to a bowl game. We had bowl games back then.
Yeah.
So we went to a bowl game. We won that. So I think that's when just, they were coming to see other guys. And I think I got noticed then. And so they started recruiting me. I was being recruited as an athlete. Most teams.
That's what I figured. Like a Bucky Jones type of athlete.
Yeah, I was 5'10", 160 pounds. And so most teams were recruiting me as an athlete, and a lot of them wanted me to play defensive back. But
of course they did.
I didn't.
They always do. They want to put you on defense.
I didn't want to play defensive back.
Did you have a decent amount of yards rushing? Like, would they? Okay, so you ran the ball pretty well.
Senior year, going into, I was playing quarterback. Our starting running back, who was really good at the time, his name was James Holly. He got kicked off the team. He got into an altercation with the coach, got kicked off the team. So they moved me to running back. And
okay.
Backup quarterback, they moved him to quarterback. And I ended up having like 1,200 rushing yards. I think it was like 7 or 8 games.
Oh my God.
So that kind of like really, kind of sparked a lot of teams' interest after that.
Yeah, you must have been averaging like 8 to 10 yards a carry with that. That's crazy.
We ran it all the time. We barely throw it. So,
Well, I know, but the wing T is tough because I mean, if you have a wing back, you have the fullback, and you never know who's going to get the ball. Yeah. So your tailback is, I mean, the carries sometimes are pretty spread out between who gets the ball. So it's not like they're giving it to you 30 times a game.
That's true.
You make the most. Yeah. You have to make the most of the opportunities you get your touches. And you definitely were able to do that. So I think do you think that the move to tailback kind of sparked your recruiting more, or do you think it was going to happen either way?
I think it kind of sparked my recruiting more. Had more eyes on.
Yeah.
I was, as a running back, we were, running it a lot more. And so I think I was able to, kind of spark more interest from
when did UConn first start talking to you? Because that still blows my mind that like they got you, they got the jumps, they got like Brian Hoffman, Dan Dagnan, all those guys from Florida. You would never think UConn would have a presence in Florida, and they got some really good recruits from down there. When did they start talking with you?
So I started talking to UConn. I didn't, being 100% transparent here, I didn't even know UConn had a football team.
I didn't either. I'm from New York. I didn't know they had a football team.
Yeah, before they started recruiting me, I'm like, that's a basketball school. I didn't know they had a football team. And so Coach Fitch, he was Coach Todd Fitch. He was the offensive coordinator, quarterback coach, and he came by me. And so, he came down and started talking to me about the program. And I'm like, man, this guy, at the time, recruited by, a lot of bigger schools. And but he's very persistent, and
Yeah.
so kept coming. I think I saw him like every time I would look up, Coach Fitz would be.
He was at every game.
He was there. He was always there. And so that
crazy.
happened in the beginning of my senior year, and they started, recruiting me more. Just started, just continued out throughout the season.
Did they talk to you about offense or defense? Like, did they tell you that you could play offense, or did they kind of play coy with it and say, we'll figure it out after?
But no, they actually gave me a choice. I remember Coach Holtz came down as well. He did his in-home visit, and he was like, we just want to get you the ball. He's like, if you want to play, play running back. If you want to play wide receiver, you can play receiver. He's like, we want to put you back there at kick return as well. We just want to get you the ball as much as possible. And I was like, yeah, I want to play running back. And so he was like, well, we'll recruit you as a running back.
And what other schools were recruiting you at the time pretty heavily, would you say?
Kentucky, they were my other final choice. It came down between UConn and Kentucky. Illinois was recruiting me at the time.
Wow.
Georgia Tech. Who was another one in there? Liberty, they were recruiting me pretty heavy at the time. That's probably the main.
You had some big time programs that were coming down there.
But most of those were defensive. And that's why I wanted to go to Kentucky. I wanted to play in the SEC. Guy from the South. But Kentucky was adamant about recruiting me as an athlete who was going to play defensive back.
Yeah.
I couldn't. I'm not a defensive player.
Yeah, you don't want to make tackles. I don't want
to tackle anybody. Give me the ball. Give me the ball. And so Coach Holtz and Coach Fitz were like, we're going to give you the ball. If you come to UConn, you're going to get your touches. And so that's how I ended up at UConn.
Yeah, I think that's when they had Tim Couch as the quarterback too. It was right around that time.
He came later.
He came after. Okay. That's right.
They were running an offense similar to the option at that time.
Right.
Like I said, they weren't throwing it a lot, and so they gave me the choice. They was like, we want to recruit you as a defensive back, but we'll try receiver. But they weren't throwing the ball; they were running the option.
Yeah.
Year after that, or maybe a year or two after that, is when Tim Couch came.
Okay.
Run it all over the yard,
Yeah, that's when Hal Mummy was head coach. Because I remember we played down there. That was an experience playing in an SEC school. Did you go on an official visit to UConn right around December?
Yeah, it was actually in December. It was really cold, I remember.
That's all you Florida guys say is how cold it was when you got off the plane.
Yeah, I think a lot of people had went home already for the Christmas break.
Oh, so they brought you up during the winter when everyone was home.
It was around that time. It was still a few guys there.
Yeah.
Wilbur Gilliard, Howard. Those guys were my
okay.
They were
your host.
On my recruiting visit. So still a few guys up there I got to meet some of the guys on the basketball team as well.
I just had Wilbur on the show this week. He is hilarious. He's just a funny guy.
I love him. He's it's like big brother. He took me under his wing when I first got there.
So did they offer you before you came on the visit?
Yes, they had already offered. And they were saying that they were going to take a couple of running backs.
Yeah.
So at the time, they were kind of pushing for a commitment.
Well, yeah, when they bring you up on an official, that's kind of do or die. That's where you try to push the guy to get a commitment out of him. Did you commit on your meeting with Holtz, or you wanted to still think about it?
I told him I wanted to go home, talk to my mom about it, and because like I said, I really wanted to go to Kentucky. I mean, I was in love with the play, loved everything about it. I just didn't want to play defense.
Yeah.
And so it came down to we went home. With my mom and I, we sat down at the table and we laid down the pros and cons. and we looked at the position I wanted to play, and then the education as well. And so that's for me at that time, it was just kind of like, yeah, UConn is a choice.
Yeah, it was a good match. Our education is phenomenal. I mean, we're one of the top 20 public schools in the country,
Yeah.
and only getting better. And football wise. Now, I was always curious because I've talked to so many other people who said this. Did they tell you that they were looking into moving up to Division 1A?
Yeah,
They did.
that was it.
Wow.
They're going to be in the Big East, in 2 years. So once you come here, you're going to get your feet wet, but then you're going to be going to play big time football against Miami and these other teams at the time that were in the Big East.
That blows my mind, because when I talked to Wilbur, he said the same thing. I talked to a couple other of the older guys, and this is going back to 90, 91. They were telling people that they were going into the Big East.
Yeah.
And I was just surprised to hear that. Like, even before Skip Holtz, that when Tom Jackson was the coach, they were saying that they were moving up to 1A. So it was like a plan that was in the works for a while, and they used it as a recruiting tool.
Absolutely. That's part of how I went, because they say, hey, I know you have this opportunity to go play at Kentucky, but just give us a couple years. We're getting it in works. Say by the time you're a sophomore or junior, we'll be in the Big East. You'll be playing big time. So, just come here and help us build a program.
Yeah. They always said it was the stadium issue that held everything up, because they wanted to build the stadium on campus, and everyone complained because they thought 195 would be backed up too far, like it is during basketball games. Yeah. I'm like, guys, come on. I mean, yeah, there's one road that goes in, but it goes in for basketball. Picture if you go to Penn State or any of those other schools, they have the same thing where there's one road that goes into campus. Mm-hmm. And you're talking 6 times a year you have to deal with a little traffic. And that always blew my mind. I did not like that they built they built a beautiful stadium. I just didn't like that it was at Hartford, because for the students, a noon game after a Friday night, you're asking to get up and go. That's not always going to happen.
Bus, a lot of them got to get on the bus.
They got to get on the bus to go to Hartford.
That's that's difficult. I think just kind of what I heard, an economic decision.
It was.
Than anything. But Rental Field is nice. I've been to 2 games, so nice. It's nice there.
Yeah, it is. They did a nice job with it, and it's 40,000. And we were on a roll. Really, was from 2002 to 2010, and I think they had sellouts for like 8 straight years, and then it fell off. But it had the capacity to expand to 60,000, and they never got there. They never made that move, and I wish they had. But I agree with you.
Yeah, I don't think obviously now it's not it's not conducive to a $60,000 seat stadium.
No.
Barely, they're barely filling it up now. So, I don't know if the state of Connecticut is a football state.
It's not at all, not even close.
Yeah,
they're a football state when they win.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we're winning now, so hopefully the attendance will pick up some.
Yes, we are. So you came in. Did they redshirt you?
No, I didn't redshirt. No.
Oh, so you played right away, because I know Shank redshirted and he was not happy about it. He told me.
Yeah. So I actually came in a year after Shane and Shank. I came in that next year in '95. They were there in '94. So
okay.
Their redshirt freshman year, my true freshman year. Yeah.
Okay, so you got to play with them. Yeah. And initially, did they start you off? Were you a running back?
I started off at running back, and I was 3rd string at the time. But I was the starter at kick returner.
Mm-hmm.
starting on kick returner. So yeah, I didn't redshirt. I traveled, all that good stuff. And then
was Wilbur there still? Okay.
He was the starter.
Was that Ed Long guy there?
Yep, he was the starting fullback.
Okay.
And then no, I'm sorry, not Ed. Ed Nook.
Ed Nook. Okay.
Nook. Yeah. And somebody else was in front of me too.
Barry Chandler. Was Barry Chandler there then?
Came after me. Check was there. His I forgot his name right now.
That's all right.
Yeah, but yeah, he was there. So I was third string. He ended up leaving. I don't know what happened. He left the team. And then third game of the year, Yale Bowl. That's when Wilbur went down with the foot injury.
Yes. Skip moved him to fullback. He told me about that. He was furious.
Yeah, he went down. He went down with a foot injury. And so I stepped in that game. I think I had like 200 yards that game. And
wow.
I started ever since then. Yeah.
What did they run a lot of? Because I remember Shane and Carl and Wilbur said that Skip initially tried to run some of the Notre Dame option stuff.
We did. We ran.
We did. Okay.
We had the T. We had the T out there.
Oh my God.
It was crazy. But mostly we were a power I team. We ran ISO.
Really? Power I.
Yeah, we ran power. We ran zone, inside and outside zone.
All under center.
Yeah. We were traditional power I team.
Right. And then it was somewhere after that, like 90, 96, 97, 98, where Coach Fitch adapted and you guys were much more multiple.
Yes.
You used a lot of 11 personnel, one tight end and 3 receivers I would see out there. You had 2 good fullbacks. You had Chad Martin and Fezzi, of course. And then the running backs, you, Barry Chandler, and RC.
That's when I switched to wide receiver.
That's when they moved you. Okay.
Yeah. So that my junior year.
Okay.
My first 2 years there, I played running back. My junior and senior year, I played wide receiver. So we kind of opened up the offense then.
Yes, you did. I saw the numbers.
It was Shank and it was Fitzy, John Fitzsimmons.
Yep.
So we were a lot more multiple. Kind of opened up the offense a little bit, and those last 2 years we had some pretty good offenses.
Did you like playing running back at the college level? Was it what you expected? Was it more physical?
A lot more physical. Everybody's obviously faster.
Yeah.
Closes up a lot more quickly.
They do.
Those hits, man. I'm still feeling some of those right now. So, a lot more physical. And I was a small back. I was 180 pounds soaking wet.
Yeah.
I think my heaviest, I was 185 pounds at UConn.
Yeah.
So I was small, but quick. So I kind of
your rushing yards. So you basically, you played as a freshman. Your sophomore year was really your full year running back, right?
Yes and no. I actually had some dental surgery early on in my camp, so I missed most of camp with sophomore year. So I played. I had a really up and down sophomore year. But freshman year, I was a freshman All-American. I had the freshman rushing record. So I had a great freshman year. I guess hit that sophomore slump during my sophomore year, and then switch positions.
And that's when things really took off. Shane had said that 97, you guys were really close.
Yeah.
And then he said, like, you guys had a team meeting or something and just made a decision like, listen, this is bullshit. We're better than these guys. We belong in the playoffs and we have to get it done. Yeah. And Shane and Shank really credited the off season between 97 and 98. That summer, they said that 99% of you guys stayed up and you trained together and there was nothing else to do. So you all hung out and you became closer, you became friends and on a personal level. And that always makes a difference when you know somebody that well, and you're playing for your brother, you're playing for your teammate. What was different but about that off season, that summer between 97 or the 98 summer, I would say, than the other summer workouts? Was it just the commitment from the players or the work from the players?
100%. It was a commitment. It was the togetherness, the brotherhood. We were there. I mean, we were there the whole summer.
Yeah, I know.
Every minute together. Like, we lived together. We had an apartment out together. I mean, like, we did everything together. We traveled. We built a brotherhood bond. I think that's helped cement that 98 season. Going into that season, we were supremely confident. We knew that we knew that because we had the talent and we had put in the work. Like, we a lot of long hours working out. We never missed a workout. We held each other accountable to those. And we set a standard. You did. Absolutely set a standard that that came from Shane, being a leader and those guys out there. That this is gonna be our season. Like, we're gonna do something special, and that started just like they said that summer. Excuse me, to the season. Absolutely.
Yeah, Jamar Wilkins said the same thing. He said that year was really what set the standard of UConn football, which carried on throughout till today. That's because it wasn't at that time like it is now mandatory for you to stay up. You could take class and they would give you money but you would still have to find your own apartment, or you could live in a dorm for free, which nobody wanted to do. Or guys work jobs. So it was tough. I mean, these guys either had to work jobs and then go to the night workouts, or guys would take classes. And I remember the summer classes were a little bit easier. There was no way I would have gotten through biology if I didn't take it in the summer. Biology.
I took biology in the summer too.
Oh, biology was a killer.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Biology was a killer. I think I flunked biology the first time I took it. It was awful. I think I took like linguistics in the summer, like every difficult class I tried to take in the summer. And it was good because during the fall, you could get by and just take the 12 credits, the minimum, and you wouldn't fall behind. And especially without having a fifth year, that's tough too, because you have to try to get everything in. What was your major?
I was a communications major.
You were comms, okay. And that's a great major to have, and that's what I had wanted to do as well. I started out as a communications major, but I didn't realize it wasn't like broadcasting. Communications broadcasting. It was like the science behind communications. Because I committed to UConn. They offered me the summer going into my junior year. I committed without even visiting the place because I just wanted to, I wanted to go
from
to the best. No, I'm from upstate New York. I wanted to go to Syracuse.
Okay.
I would have done anything to go to Syracuse.
Okay.
I went to Syracuse camp. I was recruited by them. I did everything well at the camp except I'm a terrible athlete and I ran a horrible 40. I think I ran like a 5.4, 5.5. It was awful. You could have power walked the 40 faster than I would have ran it. That's probably how it looked. But yeah, I really wanted to go to Syracuse. So I had been UConn offered me. And my ecology teacher, his name was Doug Penns. His son, Chad Penns, was a kicker at UConn in the 90s. I believe he was a backup kicker, and then he went into the PT program. So Mr. Penns was pushing, and my locker happened to be right by his classroom. and he had all the UConn memorabilia up, and I was like, UConn's got a football team, and he was the one who really pushed me to go there. And it would be funny because if another school came in to see me, like they'd call his classroom, say, "Oh, the coach from UNH is here. Oh, the coach from Syracuse is here," and he would basically say, "No, he can't come down." Click, hang up on him. I was like, thanks, Mr. Pence. For pushing me to go to UConn. But yeah, that everyone talked about that summer, and then I think it was Shane that said that your first meeting in the Berkshires, there was an overhead projector, and Skip came in and he just put like a sheet of paper on it that said like make it to the playoffs or win it all or something, and then just walked out. Do you recall something like that?
I do recall that. It just brought back a memory. I'm like, man, I remember that happened.
Yeah, he said that. He said there's nothing else to say.
Yeah, and you know what? And the thing was, I think that, obviously the coaches, they weren't out there during the summer, but they were getting reports back from the
yes.
about what was going on. I think that the coaches were confident as well because they knew the talent that we had. We were a really talented team on both sides of the ball, especially offense. But on both sides of the ball, we were really talented, and I think that that confidence, just kind of bled over into us. We were already confident as well because, like I said, we had put in the work during that summer, and we knew that we were motivated because we knew we had the talent to win it all, and like our senior year, we beat UMass twice that year.
I was at both games.
And
believe me, I know.
And that was crazy. And the team that they beat us.
Yeah.
And so it was really weird kind of sitting back watching. I remember watching the game. I was like losing my mind. Like, this is not the same Georgia Southern team that we played. And that's definitely not the same UMass team we played.
Well, you had a lot working against you in that game. I talked to Jamar Wilkins, and Jamar had said that Fitch was Fitch the defensive coordinator or Rapone?
Rapone was the defensive coordinator. Fitch was
Rapone changed the entire defense. They tried to play like an odd front, like a 3-man front, to stop the triple option. And Jamar to this day believes if they had just played their base defense, they would have been fine. But trying to install a new front, a new everything, was not productive. And that's really what caused the issues. And then Shane and Carl both said that the heat was unbelievable. Because you had just come from beating Hampton, and it was 38 degrees. And you're down at Georgia Southern, and it's like 90.
Yeah,
and it was awful. It was sweaty. It was, and guys, you weren't prepared for it.
Yeah, and the crowd was crazy. And
they're a great program.
They're a great program. That head coach, he went on to coach at Navy and Georgia Tech. He did,
yes.
Yeah, that offense was tough, man. That offense.
We played against them when he was at Navy. Yeah.
Man.
No, it was. But I was at the Colgate game in both UMass games, because Colgate is right by where my parents live, where I grew up. And then they brought me out to the UMass game on my recruiting trip. And then UMass brought me out to see UMass on their recruiting trip. But it was funny. The UConn coaches spent more time talking to me than the UMass coaches did. The UMass coaches were like, we're going to win a national title, and the recruits are going to come to us, so we don't have to spend a lot of time on recruiting. We're offering you, just go enjoy the game.
Yeah.
And then Coach Googs and I think it was Bevel and Skip came out and all said hi to me. And both games, I had never seen anything like it.
Yeah.
I can't remember if it was the first game at Memorial that went into overtime. It was just a shootout. and I've never seen offense like that.
Yeah, I think that's the game that Brian Hoffman played. I think
That
Shane.
okay. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
Shane was hurt that game, if I'm not
Shane
mistaken.
was hurt. Yes. Yes, he was. But I just saw your offense and how dynamic and how explosive it was, and how multiple it was. Because I mean, you did a lot of one back stuff. Then you had so many different personnel groupings. Between the 11 personnel, you had 21 personnel. You jump into 12 personnel. I mean, it was just, then you jump into 2 backs and 3 receivers. It was just like all over, and defenses couldn't keep up. And Shane was so good at getting you guys into the right play if something was wrong. He just had such a great mind for the game and putting you in the right position. And then watching Shank, watching Fitzy go to work, it was like nothing I had ever seen. Just athletes that would make guys miss. Like you reminded me of the receiver, the guy who's on the Dolphins right now. What's his face? The guy that got dragged out of his car.
Oh, Tyreek Hill.
Hill. Besides that part.
Yeah.
Besides the domestic violence and getting arrested. Yes.
Yeah.
Just your movements, just the way you moved and how athletic you were and how you could squirm out of everything. Like people would think you were down and you would just come out, and then like you could not be tackled. It was like silicone was all over your body and nobody could grab you. And just you and Shank running routes, like there was no way that teams could match up, because if they took away one of you, somebody else would beat you. Like if they made the decision, okay, we're taking Carl Bond away, well, then Tory Taylor's going to beat you. If we take Tory away, Carl's going to beat you. If you try to take them both away, they're going to run the ball with RC and Barry. I mean, it was just amazing to watch both those games and the Colgate game. Because I remember I looked at the numbers for that year, and it's just unbelievable. Shane had like 23 touchdown passes, and I think he missed 4 games. I mean, he easily could have had 30.
Yeah.
But his statistics, I mean, he's still in like the top 5. I mean, it's like Orlovsky, Matt DeGennaro, and then like Shane's right up there with those guys. There's a couple guys that came later, but I don't really count them because they played in just a spread system that threw the ball all the time. But for Shane to still be up there, Shank's up there, you're up there for all-time receiving yards, receptions, single season receptions, single season receiving yards. I mean, that year was just so impressive. Yeah, and that's what sold me on going. Just watching you guys and that brotherhood that you had, because I hadn't seen anything like it.
Yeah, and I think that you can see that as it carried over to the field, and just like our offense our senior year, just like you said, Shane threw for a crazy amount of yards. Shank was 1,000-yard receiver. Fitzsimmons was a 1,000-yard receiver. I think I had almost 800, and I played.
Yeah, but your total yardage was ridiculous. I think you had 2,000 total yards.
And I played running back a couple of games. I played both running back and receiver during the Georgia Southern game. Like my final college, that was my final college game. I played both.
And were you returning kicks?
And I was returning kicks. Yeah.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure you had over 2,000 total yards combined, which was unheard of, and I still think may be the record.
I think I have the kickoff return yardage record. I think I still have that one. Yeah. But
and you're still up there for receptions and yards and all that. You're in the like top 15 or top 10 for receptions, yards, total yards, single season, all that stuff. You just had an incredible career, and you came in with such a great group. And then I believe you signed with Jacksonville initially.
Yes, okay. Yes. So I signed with Jacksonville as a free agent.
Who did you sign with as an agent? Who did you go through?
I I had an agent who was awful at the time, man. He was bad. I can't even think of his name now, but he was not a good.
He was new, probably.
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
new, building. You know, he was trying to build up his agency, and so he were getting guys that like me, who were kind of on the fringe, maybe get drafted, maybe not as an undrafted free agent. So he had a bunch of guys like that, and so but it was.
Did he pay for your training or anything? Did he get that for you or no?
Did for he did for during spring break.
He did it for a week.
So yeah, so I
dear Jesus.
I had some workouts at UConn with I had one workout, and it was with the Patriots, and I ran I think it was like a 4.57 on my 40.
Yeah.
And he was like, that's not fast enough. And I knew it wasn't fast enough. So I came down here back home to Orlando for spring break, and I went out to UCF, and that's where Dante Culpepper was at the time.
Correct.
That was he was there at the time. And I got the chance to work out with the track coach there. And I got to throw with those guys too at the during that time. We would go do our work on the track, and then we would go throw. So I got Dante Culpepper for a little bit then. And so he paid for that. I think he just, kind of gave the track coach some money. He just said, here, here's my guy. He needs to improve his 40. So, I came down. It helped. I ran a 4.43 after that.
Yeah.
But,
had you have gotten someone who sent you to Parisi's or sent you somewhere to actually train. I had Danny Blansana on last night, and he said that he would go for 2 weeks on and 2 weeks off for training. He would go to Florida, and it made all the difference in the world. And you didn't have that. I'm surprised Joe Linton.
I trained on my own at school.
Yeah, I can imagine that. That's what I did too. I can imagine.
Behind the facilities building, that's where I did my training.
I can't believe Joe Linton didn't come get you. I'm surprised Joe Linton didn't come get you. He's the Connecticut guy. He represents a lot of good players. He's got Joe Flacco, but he was like the only well-known agent in Connecticut. And it was tough. Like we didn't, the only guy in the league that I knew of was Brian Kozlowski. He was the tight end. That was the only guy I knew of. So it was tough to make it. Yeah. And did you get to go to the combine or no?
No, I didn't go to the combine.
You didn't get to go to the combine. So you had to do pro days, and UConn did not have a pro day, I believe. Did you get to go to other pro days? We did have one?
Yeah, we had a pro day.
Okay.
We had a pro day, but then I had other workouts as well. I had, there were a couple of teams that came in. Jacksonville was one of the teams that came in. Yeah. I worked out for them. I worked out for the Bucks. I worked out for the Patriots.
Right. Okay.
And then there were some Canadian League teams I worked out for as well.
Yeah, because Randy wasn't there yet. Okay. Well, he was there.
Well, at the time, he had just came there.
He had connections with Jacksonville. That's right.
When Skip left, Randy came in, but Skip left after after that last season.
Were you worried about Skip? Because Carl had told me that he always had a concern that, obviously this was a stepping stone for Skip. Yeah. He came as a GA from Florida State, and obviously being with his father's pedigree. And, he said Skip basically promised him 4 years. He said, I will be here for your entire career. And and he made good on his promise. Did you have concerns about him possibly leaving sooner?
I think there were rumblings after our junior year.
Yeah.
That he would leave. But he ended up staying. I think he stayed because he knew we had a good team.
He knew.
Yeah, he knew we had a good team that year.
He invested in you guys. Yeah,
absolutely. And he made me the same promise as well. I can remember him sitting in my mom's living room, and he said, hey, we're going to take care of your son for 4 years. I'm going to be there for 4 years. He promised me that. He's like, I'm not going anywhere after that. I'm trying to build a program here. And he did that,
he did.
After immediately following that year, though, he left. So
No, I know,
Yeah.
and it still burns me to this day because that's when I came in '99, and I think we still had enough talent to where we could have made a run at it became the Atlantic 10, but Randy, and he admitted it. I mean, I had him on the podcast too, and he just said that he wanted his own guys, and every coach is like that. And
Yeah, yeah,
he didn't let some guys come back for their fifth year. Others, he didn't really give them a choice because back then it was your scholarship was 1 year renewable.
yeah,
Now it's most schools will guarantee it for 4 years, but with the transfer portal and everything, it's a mess.
yeah.
So you got to Jacksonville, you went to camp. What was your experience there?
It was rough those first couple of
Yeah,
weeks.
yeah.
It was rough. I mean, I
Mini
was
camp and everything.
yeah, I was shell shocked a little bit at how big and strong and fast and good
Yeah.
everybody was.
Well, you weren't
Um,
prepared either. You didn't get preparation.
yeah, I didn't get preparation, and coming in, I knew that everybody there was good. I knew that
Yeah.
these are NFL guys, the same guys I watch on TV, so I knew everybody was good. But it's another thing to watch it on. One thing to watch it on TV. It's
When
another
you're seeing it in person.
and see how big and strong and fast these guys were. So I was shell shocked a little bit the first couple of weeks, and learning the offense. The playbook was man, it was huge, and so it took me a while to kind of
Yeah.
get my feet wet and
Comfortable. Yeah.
then when get myself in a routine. And by then, by camp, I had started doing well. But the NFL, it's tough, man. It's a numbers game. They can only keep so many, and you can't afford to have bad days. And
Bad
so,
days, you pack your bag.
especially especially if you're not a high draft pick. If you have bad days
Yeah.
as a high draft pick, they give you some leniency,
Chances. Yeah.
but not as an undrafted rookie. They'll just go send you off and go get somebody else. So, but I made it through almost the last cut, and was eventually let go.
Yeah. Yeah. Did you get workouts after that? Did you end up signing with anyone else?
So no, I didn't, and
Okay.
that partly is because the agent I was talking to you about.
Yeah,
So,
he didn't know what he was doing.
yeah, I wanted to go play in the Arena League. I wanted to play Canadian League. I wanted to just go play football.
Yeah,
And
get film.
he was telling me no. He was like, another team's going to sign you. I'm working on something. You got some interest out there. He was just like, just sit tight. Just keep working out. So I just kept working out. We'll call him, every other day. Hey, do you hear anything? Nope. I'm, still working. Just keep working out. This went on, throughout the season.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, so I need to go and start playing some football somewhere. Had an opportunity to go actually and play with Shane and Shank. I think they're in Tallahassee.
Tallahassee, yes.
They're in Tallahassee. I had an opportunity to go there, and I didn't simply because of my agent. He told me not to do it. He said, you don't want to go play in arena ball and get injured. No team is going to sign you if you get injured. He's like, you're out there playing on that turf. He's like, you're almost 100% guaranteed to get injured. He's like, I recommend you don't do it. And so I didn't do it. I didn't, and I regret that.
Arena is great for the skill guys. Arena is great for skill guys to show their stuff. Yeah, and I feel bad that you got bad advice from your agent. And he clearly was in over his head and inexperienced. And I don't know who else he was representing. Do you know if he did get anyone into the league?
I think he had a couple guys into the league.
He did get a couple.
Yeah, they were like me. I think they, undrafted guys that just worked their way and made the team. I think he had a couple guys in the league. Yeah.
Okay. And did you end up moving on after that? And
after 2 years, it was 2 years, and after that, I'm like, okay, I gotta be an adult here. I know. You gotta, figure out what's next.
Happens. Yeah.
Yeah. So, after 2 years, I kind of gave it up, and I started. I was a substitute teacher after that. Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, my whole family, my mom, sisters, worked in education, so I thought I wanted to be a teacher, and so I was like, well, let me, give this a try, do substitute first, and so I did that for 2 years, and then I was like, no, I don't want to. I
Yeah.
don't want to be a
Yeah.
teacher.
It's
It's
just
not
not.
for me. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
And what'd you end up doing after that?
I joined the Navy.
Oh, wow. You went
Uh,
into the military. Oh,
yeah, I was
God
in the Navy.
bless you.
I was in the Navy for 10 years.
Oh my God. I didn't know that.
Yep,
Okay.
10 years. Yep.
Where were you stationed?
I was stationed in Little Creek in Virginia. It's in the Norfolk,
Yep.
Virginia Beach area. I was stationed in Great Lakes, Illinois, at the Navy boot camp, and I was stationed in on board USS Ronald Reagan aircraft carriers in San Diego.
Wow.
Yep.
And so, okay, so you did it for 10 years, and then you obviously retired or got discharged, correct?
Yeah, I just finished out my contract.
Yeah.
I got up to that halfway point,
Yeah.
and am I gonna continue doing this, or am I
Yeah.
gonna do something else? So I
You're
decided
ready to move on.
yeah.
And where did you go after that?
I moved back home here.
You moved back home.
Back here in the Orlando area. Mm-hmm.
Okay, beautiful, beautiful. Yeah, that's a very, very tough, stringent career, and to do that for 10 years
Yeah.
is very, very impressive. To serve your country and to go from college football, pro football to the Navy, that's a transition. That is a major, major transition. Which reminds me, Mike Burton, Bleeding Blue for Good. That is our NIL collective. We are trying to raise money for Bleeding Blue for Good. Mike took it upon himself and jumped right in. He always answers when the call comes. And we also have Stores Central. We were able to raise $1.5 million last year, which was tops between like the group of five. But for us to get into a Power Five conference and for us to continue to win, we need your help. We need you to go to the website, bleedingblueforgood.org. You can get a tax write-off. Mike does not need thousands of dollars. If you can donate $200, if you can donate $500, that's all he wants. And he'll do jumping jacks. We have so many alumni that are successful. We just need more people to donate so we can bring in more transfers and a better recruiting class. What
Can I just say something? Can I say something really quick?
Absolutely, you can.
So, you talked about that brotherhood that we built during our senior year, just really throughout, because Mike and I came in together. We came in that 95 class. And, we talked about that, that brotherhood. Mike has a heart of gold.
He does.
He has a heart of gold. And I don't want to get too emotional, but my daughter has some health issues, some major issues where she battles, with sickness quite frequently. And it requires a lot of hospital stays, a lot of doctor visits. And, a few years back, she got really, really sick and she needed to get to a specialist in Boston. Mike picked up the phone, called me, say, hey, I see some stuff on Facebook. What's going on with your daughter? I let him know. Mike jumped into action. He actually has a relationship with the head of the hospital in Boston, Children's Hospital. Contact with them. He spoke with the head of the hospital. They called us. The next day, we were on a plane up there getting the treatment my daughter needs. And it was because Mike helped facilitate that. And, the guy has
a great story. Yeah.
And, he was a tremendous help and blessing to my family. I love the guy. Love him.
Yeah. That's an amazing story. And I know because he also has struggles, his daughter's special needs as well. So he has a relationship with the Children's Hospital. And I'm so happy that he was there to step in for you. And, I had him on the show, and part of the purpose of this show, he's helping me with the podcast because we're going to use the podcast as a tool to raise money for the NIL collective. I told him that I would do that for him.
Nice.
So he's helping me out as well. And that's what I said to him. I said, man, why do you always answer? Why do you always give back? Why, whenever the call comes, you answer. And he said, it's because of my father, because of what my father taught me. He said, my father, without his football scholarship, would not have built the empire that he has today. And he credits it all to football. So if I can pay it forward, if I can do something for someone else, I'm always going to do it. I'm always going to do it. I'm not going to say no unless it's completely impossible. I will do anything I can to help the people that I love and that I built a brotherhood with. And he took care of me my freshman year as well. And I'm going to the game tomorrow to see him for the first time and do a podcast and meet his team, the Bleeding Blue for Good and Store Central, that he started the two collectives, because we didn't have a collective. And that's why we were just getting smashed. And now that you're seeing the difference on the field, Nick Evers is part of the collective. Sheffield is part of the collective. Skylar Bell's part of the collective. Cam Edwards is part of the collective. So we're seeing it pay off. We're seeing the results that we're winning. Now we just have to take it to the next level. I mean, Mike threw in $500,000. I mean, he paid a third of it. So that's why we're saying we have the alumni. We just need more to donate. And people don't even know about it. And that was the other issue. People didn't even know we had a collective.
I didn't know. It's all news to me.
Yeah, it's crazy. People didn't know about it. So that was the other thing I said I would help with. I mean, at least it'll raise awareness that it's out there. Stores Central is a monthly subscription. It's $11, and you get inside access to football and basketball news.
Is that Rivals? Is that the?
No, it's just storecentral.com, but it has the Boneyard on it. The Boneyard part of it.
Okay.
And then Bleeding Blue for Good is the actual nonprofit organization where the players get paid, and you can pick which sport you want to donate to, and you get a tax write-off. So either one of those are where we want to go to get donations, because I mean, he's meeting with Coach Mora after this weekend, because next weekend's a bye, and they're going to kind of go through what the cost is going to be to keep the players that they have, the ones that are going to want more money, and the cost to bring in, new players. And he's estimating it's probably going to be double. So then he's telling me, he's like, shit, I'm going to have to do this every year. Like, so I'm going to have to come up with this money every year. I just thought I did it for 1 year. I'm like, nah, I'm going to have to do it every year. So, and he's like, I don't have to do this. He's like, my son plays at Georgetown. I go watch him. But if there's anyone that defines Bleeding Blue, it's Mike Burton.
Absolutely.
Nobody defines it more than him. So spread the word about the collective. Anything you can donate. Every dollar counts. Like I said, he doesn't care about thousands of dollars. If he can just get more people to donate a couple $100, he's happy. And that will take us to the next level. And this year is so pivotal, because if we win 8 games, if we can win 9 games, we'll get into a Power 5 conference. I truly believe that. Yeah. Have you had a chance to watch us at all?
I did. Okay. I watched the last game. Yeah. Good.
You watched the last game. It was too bad Evers got hurt.
Yeah.
But you definitely see the difference.
Yeah, I like the kid. I think he has some talent. I think he can take us to that next level. Yeah.
Yeah. I love the running backs. That Skylar Bell is something else. And Sheffield is finally getting going. Sheffield came from Purdue, I believe. Skylar Bell came from Wisconsin with Evers. But, Burton's like, these guys all talk. So, he said, we've never missed a payment. We're not like the Nevada situation where the quarterback got promised. And Mike said the same thing. Mike said, anyone watching this who is dealing with NIL, make sure you have a contract. He says that, he sits down with the parents and he makes sure that the parents have representation of their own to go through the contract. They walk them through the process and everything involved, all the requirements. Because when you donate to Bleeding Blue for Good, they do charity work. And they get paid for doing it, and they make media appearances or go to schools, hospitals. They've been great with it. So those have been the two things. And looking at the schedule, I honestly think the over under should be right now. It's 6 games. They should be able to win 6 games or more. I think they're going to win 8. What would your opinion be so far after seeing what you have seen?
I don't know the schedule. Just seeing what I see, and they have talent.
Yeah.
I have talent to win some games. Depending on who they're playing. I haven't actually looked at the full schedule, so I don't know what I have up next. But
we got Temple this week. We got Temple. We got Wake, and then we got like UAB. We got Georgia State. We got UMass. And we have Syracuse, I think, are the remaining games. So I think we can beat Temple. I think we can beat Georgia State.
That one may be a winnable game.
I agree. That's how I feel. That's exactly how I mean. I think Syracuse will be a battle, and I think Wake may be a battle.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah,
other than those two, I think we can win. I think we can win for sure.
I agree.
So it's any chance of you making a trip up to Rentschler?
I have a lot going on right now. I want to get up there to a game. I want to get my family up there where they've never been. So
okay, good.
If it's not this year, it'll definitely be next year.
Okay, good. Yeah, if you do come up, please come up for homecoming if you can.
I was thinking of that too. So we'll see here. See
how it works out. But I'm thrilled about your daughter. And is she hanging in there? Is she doing better at least?
Better. She's doing a lot better in school. Haven't had any setbacks lately. So yeah, we're very happy about that.
Well, man, God bless you, because I can't even imagine what that's like to be as a parent and to feel helpless, and it's awful. And the fact that you're there every day and you're dealing with it and you're loving her and you're taking care of her, that's what a father is.
Absolutely.
So I commend you on being there and going the extra mile to make sure she has the best care possible.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you, Mike. I appreciate you, man. Love you, brother.
Steve. Well, yeah, thank Mike as well.
Mike Burton, yeah.
Mike Burton. I will make sure to tell him. But yes, Tory Taylor, thank you for your first experience on Husky Talk. I'm glad I was able to get you on. I will put this on all the social media platforms. We've been doing very well. I work with Dave Schumann. He's my partner on a couple other shows. His YouTube channel has over 1 million subscribers. Nice. At noon, we do a show called Husky Huddle, where it's on Mondays and Fridays at noon. We recap and then pre-game the upcoming opponent. So today we'll do a pre-game of the Temple game tomorrow. If you're bored, just go to his YouTube channel. It's Coach Schumann at YouTube, and we will be on at noon. So for Tory Taylor, the dynamic running back, receiver, kick returner, athlete, he probably filled the water bottles too. I don't know. He probably did it all at UConn. Thank you for being on Husky Talk. And I am your host. Remember, Also, our last sponsor, Green Street Trust International. Green Street Trust International is our newest sponsor. Thank you, Rennell Jump. Rennell Jump and his team, they protect you through asset protection and strategically plan your taxes. They strategically put together a plan for tax reduction. So to schedule a meeting with him, go to calendly.com/Green Street Trust and schedule your free strategy session with Rennell. So I got that right too. That's good. 2 for 2. Thank you again, Tory. It's a great episode. I will have it up on all social media. If you can, please reshare it, repost it, and tag your friends, the people that I don't know that I can't tag. Absolutely. That helps spread the word of Husky Talk. We are getting it as big as possible, and we're the only school that has an alumni podcast to tell your story, to tell everyone's story, and we want to make this into something special. So I appreciate your time.
Awesome. And having me, man.
And I'm sure we'll have you on again for sure. I'd love to have you, Carl, and Shane on. That'd be a fun episode.
We can reminisce on the old times.
Yes. I will definitely talk to them. That would be fun. So for Tory Taylor, I am Steve Cully, the best podcast host in the universe. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges.